Game with wind that is ruining everything, killing all your birds, destroying the fields, all these gorgeous fields. You got windmills all over the place, and you have birds. You want to see a bird cemetery? Just go under a windmill. You see thousands of birds dead. The bald eagle, if you kill an eagle, they put you in jail for years. And yet these windmills knock them out like nothing.
Okay, that's just crazy. Oh, hi, this is my dog Angus, aka Donk. He's joined us for this take that I'm about to give you. Anyway, that, my friends, is what Earth 2 and even the flopping mainstream media refers to as a Trump press conference. Oh, yes. The weird obsession that Trump has with windmills and whales and bird cemeteries. Like, it's just cuckoo for coconuts or cocoa for Cocoa Puffs or whatever, which leads right into my next point. Complete with his props of cereal boxes behind him in front of his posh country club at Bedminster.
Over here, what a nice job. I think I'm going to take some of them back to my cottage and have a lot of fun. Like the Cheerios. I haven't seen Cheerios in a long time. I'm going to take them back with me.
Trump didn't answer any questions, nor was he given any real serious questions, because it was basically just a love fest there. He just rambled on, as he does, incoherently. And there was a rare moment where he actually spoke the truth about life under Democrats.
Be thrown into a communist system. It's a communist system. You're going to be thrown into a system where everybody gets health care. It's
hilariously, as he was talking about how bad America is, the Fox lower third Chiron was showing the stock market at 40,000 and gaining. Of course, they immediately removed it. God forbid that any of their viewers find out the actual truth, that the truth is reported on Fox. He accidentally spilled the beans that under Democrats, everyone will get health care. Better not let their viewers know that the economy is booming and on fire too. But the latest wine fest from Fox and Earth 2 is that Vice President Kamala Harris has not given an interview yet.
Today marks 24 days since Vice President Kamala Harris moved to the top of the ticket, and she still has not given an official interview or formal press conference.
And it's also driving the mainstream press crazy as well.
Sure, this is not going to be the first time you've heard this question, but the Trump campaign is also going after the vice president for not doing enough interviews, for not holding a press conference. Would it kill you guys to have a press conference? Why hasn't she had a press conference?
Listen, the vice president and Governor Walz have been busy crisscrossing this country since the launch of this campaign and adding Governor Walz to the ticket. You saw the ways in which they went across the battleground states last week, generating rallies of thousands, 10,000 here, 15,000 there. But
Michael, you know, a campaign rally is not a press conference.
Do
you mind if I cut in? I mean, you know, a campaign rally is not a press conference. Why hasn't she had a press conference? She's the vice president. She can handle the questions. Why not do it?
We absolutely are going to do it. You hear her take questions as she's out on the stump. And she said last week, we're going to be having a sit-down interview here before the end of the month. What she's going to be focused on and what this campaign is going to be focused on is communicating directly with the voters that are actually going to decide the pathway to 270 electoral votes.
So as a reporter, I understand the desire to sit down with the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee. But it's not like Kamala Harris is hiding. She's hopscotching across the country. She's talking to voters. She's stating her policies and her platform. She's President Biden's vice president, and they as a team are having an incredibly successful term.
I believe is about two very different visions for our nation. One, ours, focused on the future, and the other, focused on the past. We see that contrast clearly in many ways, including when it comes to how we think about the economy. So our country has come a long way since President Biden and I took office. At that time, we sadly remember the millions of Americans that were out of work. We were facing one of the worst economic crises in modern history. And today, by virtually every measure, our economy is the strongest in the world.
Problem is, and it is a problem that I have been very vocal about, if you follow me, I have really been chatting about this, is that the mainstream media or the press, whatever you want to call them, has not and will not give them their flowers. The mainstream press has been awful to President Biden. And Dark Brandon is clapping back at them for their failure to report the truth about his administration.
Has the U.S. beat inflation, Mr. President?
Yes. I told you we're going to have a soft landing. We're going to have a soft landing. My policies are working. Start writing that way, okay?
And Mr. President,
anyway, thank you.
Yeah, why don't you start writing it that way? Like, do your job, report the truth, not what your biased narrative is. Here are just some of the Biden administration wins. The Biden-Harris administration just announced lower prices on 10 new prescription drugs thanks to their Medicare collective bargaining deal over Big Pharma. That now results in thousands of dollars in savings for seniors who rely on these life-saving medications. Many of these seniors who are on fixed incomes like Social Security. President Biden has fought to save Social Security, and Vice President Harris has said that she will carry that legacy on. Meanwhile, Republicans have vowed to gut Social Security and Obamacare, also known as the Affordable Care Act. Despite the mainstream media and, of course, the right-wing media going on about the economy, which is so bizarre, inflation is at the lowest it's been since 2021, under 3% as I am recording this. Even the Murdoch-owned Wall Street Journal is reporting that. 40,000 new roads, bridges, and airport projects are in progress thanks to the Biden-Harris administration. And this one is personal for me. President Biden and Dr. Jill Biden announced their cancer moonshot this past week, funding a national data system that will allow researchers to work together, tracking tumor growth. MAGA heads hate the planet. They don't want to hear about anything green. I don't really understand how they don't get that we all live on the same planet. So like clean air and clean water and a place where we can live and thrive is a good thing for all of us. They're just, I don't know, they're bizarre people. But the fact is climate crisis is real. Any of us who are experiencing these record, high temperatures and floods and tornadoes and on it goes, that's a real thing. And President Biden announced this week that there are now 333,000 new clean energy jobs as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act. How is helping our planet and creating new jobs a bad thing? Is that a bad thing, Angus? I don't think so.
Big Pharma, I fought too damn hard to yield now. We're not backing down. And get this. You may have heard about the MAGA Republican Project 2025 plan. They want to repeal Medicare's power to negotiate drug prices. Let Big Pharma back to charge them whatever they want. Let me tell you what our Project 2025 is. Beat the hell out of them. I mean it. The guy we're running against, what's his name? Donald Dump or Donald, whatever. They want to get rid of this, what we passed. They're fighting to get rid of what we've just passed. No, I'm serious.
Go on with your bad self, Dark Brandon. Donald Dump. That was trending on Twitter yesterday, or X, excuse me. Whenever President Biden stands up for himself and his accomplishments, the press gets very testy. Oh yeah, how dare the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, the leader of the free world, stand up for himself? So I can understand why Vice President Harris is steering clear, because the media covers the candidates like a horse race. They berated a very able and successful President Biden nonstop, despite him sitting down and giving multiple sit-down interviews with Aaron Burnett of CNN, with George Stephanopoulos at ABC, Lester Holt of NBC, and that hour-long press conference about foreign policy right after the NATO conference. And that was not enough for the mainstream press. They just badgered him until he graciously stepped aside. It was never enough for the rabid White House press corps. Meanwhile, they never asked the deranged, unstable, pathologically lying Trump to get out of the race. Like, the double standard is crazy, and we can't forget about what they have done and what they continue to do. Here he is, Donald Trump, lying his ass off about lowering insulin medication costs.
And Joe tried to take credit for $35 insulin. You know that. You know who did that? I did that. I did the insulin.
No. President Biden did that. So my point is, we cannot forget about how we got here. Jennifer Rubin, opinion writer of the Washington Post, wrote about this insane double standard that the media applies to Trump versus Biden. She put this out on X, but it was part of her article in the Washington Post. If President Biden held a news conference with 162 lies, resorted to laughable fabrications, sounded as bad as Trump did on X. She's referring to that Elon Musk interview that Trump did on Monday night, where he was lisping like Daffy Duck and just not making any sense, and scheduled so few appearances, a swarm of investigative pieces exploring his fitness and commentary asking whether he should leave the race would have ensued. Still, the pretense of normality persists. Yeah, I'm with her. And she, you know, I haven't always agreed with Jennifer Rubin, but recently she's been mad tweeting and writing about this because nothing is changing. They continue to cover this like a horse race. They are not changing their tune, and that they beat up on this man.
Mr. Trump says he wants to make America affordable again. Your response?
So you ought to get a job.
Will forever leave me salty. And I understand why Vice President Harris is perhaps skeptical about who she sits down with. She's speaking to the people. Why let a biased narrative get in her way? The press has a long way to go in terms of earning credibility back. And in fact, what is so frustrating to me is that they seem to show no remorse for the way that they've behaved. Nothing has changed. They continue to cover this like a horse race, like Biden and Trump are the same, and you know, not covering the facts as they lay out. And I'm concerned that they're now going to do the same thing to Kamala Harris. Like, you guys, it is your job to report the facts, not to inject your opinion, not to beat up on one guy and constantly demand, you know, proof of his fitness when we are all watching a deranged psychopath devolve in front of us, literally lying and devolving in front of us on a world stage. That you are not inquiring and demanding why this man is not stepping aside because he presents a clear and present danger to our national security. You guys, he is a convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist, and y'all aren't asking why he's not stepping aside? What is wrong with you? This is so much worse than Watergate. Hello? Earth to Bob Woodward. What are you doing? Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on this. I'm super disappointed because reporters and journalists that I've looked up to for years, to me, have really just failed at a historical moment in history when we needed the press to step up and do the job. And I'm not talking about Fox and Newsmax. Those people are not journalists. They're not. But revered journalists, and they're just absolutely just, yeah. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. My name is Suri Crowe for the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you back here very soon. Peace.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.